If you're a Resident Evil fan, you should thoroughly enjoy this video. We got a recent interview with some of the higher ups in Capcom, and I'll leave the description in the source if you just want to go check that out and skip the video, but it's your choice if you want to see some of the things summarized here, and I'll be making a lot of videos on this. In this specific video, I'm basically going to be summarizing the basics behind both DLCs and what to expect, so this video was going to be like an everything you need to know, and then I'll be making more videos on the nuances behind these announcements. So without any further delay, let's just get right into the video, no long intro or anything. I just want to say thank you to a friend who wants to remain anonymous. They've been a great help throughout all of this journey, and they help provide a lot of the information, screenshots, interviews, and sources that you guys have seen time and time again. They don't want to be named or displayed anywhere, but just it is very much appreciated for helping out all this time. So starting out with Not a Hero. Apparently, first off, Chris's actions and move speed is going to be a lot higher than Ethan's overall, and this is of course because Chris is a trained soldier, so this means that he's going to be stronger, he's going to move faster, even things like his aim down sight and reload speed for the weapons will be quicker than what you were used to when you was playing as Ethan. So this DLC is going to be a little bit faster based on that fact alone, and you can be expecting to feel a lot more strengthened and heroic when you're playing the Not a Hero DLC, and I don't think this is going to actually carry over to the End of Zoe DLC, so Chris is like the superhero as always. Now Chris is actually an advisor for Blue Umbrella. This is something big to talk about, and like I said, I'll be making some videos on this. He doesn't actually fully trust them, so a lot of people can feel relieved there. He doesn't really think that they're good guys after all, because as many of us can see, Umbrella has been like a nefarious organization for decades at this point. It's kind of interesting that there's some distrust going on between Chris and why Blue Umbrella has actually hired him, but we'll just have to wait to see that in about 12 days. The playtime for the DLC is going to be about 2 to 3 hours for a normal good player. If you're a little bit worse or like to explore the environment, it'll take 4, maybe 5 hours, and if you're really good at speedrunning and a veteran hardcore gamer, it'll probably take you 1 to 2. Now, like the base game of Resident Evil 7, you're going to be able to select a difficulty when you start this DLC out. So after you actually complete the entire DLC, you'll get an unlock of a new difficulty like the base game. I don't know if it's actually going to be called Madhouse, but it's basically going to be Madhouse. Now after this, you'll also get rewards, which up to now just seems to be a new weapon. Like the base game, you get rewards for completing it, and anyone who's used to a Resident Evil game already knows this is all standard. Also, it says End of Zoe and Not a Hero are connected, and I'll get more into this later, but yes guys, they are directly connected plot wise, and End of Zoe will actually be happening after Not a Hero, and like I said, we'll get into that in the End of Zoe segment, which is coming up very soon. To summarize this guys, Not a Hero is just going to be a 2 to 3 hour session of a bunch of punching, slashing things up and destroying shit with a fully automatic shotgun. We'll be pumped and decked out as Chris, and we'll be going through to arrest Lucas. It's going to be kind of a very action-packed DLC, and it'll remind you very much of Resident Evil 6. Keep in mind it is free guys, and a lot of people have been asking, but I don't know whether the Resident Evil 7 Gold Edition will actually contain the DLC on the disc itself, but yeah, that's all the new information we basically have. So let's get into the End of Zoe segment now. The main character in this DLC is not actually going to be Zoe, and this isn't going to be from Zoe's perception. It's going to be from Joel's perception himself, and that's why he was shown in the trailer, and that's who we're going to be playing as, and trying to save Zoe, of course, from whatever fate she has undergone. Joe is described as a kind but odd old man who's living in the Louisiana swamps, and he's obviously been associated with the Bakers and has some kind of tie with them, but how far that goes, that's the mystery to be revealed. Those are kind of the words that were given. He's very skilled in survival. As I previously released, he's an outdoorsman, but we have further information now that indicates his speciality is hunting itself, and this is going to tie into quite a few of the game functions apparently. And also, something about his character is unique or special, something that's not been done or shown before in the Resident Evil universe, and this is going to be new. Now at the start of the DLC, apparently Blue Umbrella has been ordered to search for Zoe, and this is one of the connections between the two DLCs, because if you guys remember at the end of Resident Evil 7, there was a little voice comms that talked about how there were no survivors, so something must have happened when Chris has gone and investigated the mines to indicate to Umbrella that Zoe's still around. Umbrella's under orders to arrest all of the Bakers, but Joe's still around and he found Zoe first. Now Joe is very distrustful of the Umbrella soldiers, and he's basically aligning them with the entire outbreak that happened, and he's putting a lot of blame on them over the incident and very suspicious of them, so he doesn't go to them for help and tries to avoid them. Now there's screenshots in the actual magazine here that show you hiding in the bushes, and it's very hard to see here, not sure if you can make it out in this imagery, sorry guys, but there is an Umbrella soldier in the background with a flashlight searching around, so it looks like this DLC is going to be a lot more stealthy than the Not a Hero DLC or even the base game itself. Now unlike Chris, which it seems like Chris has to set up criticals like Resident Evil 4, 5 and Revelations, it seems like Joe can actually punch at any time freely, and he's got more access to the melee tools. Now Joe's actually going to be unarmed at the start of the game, kind of like Ethan, and he's going to have to slowly arm himself up. Joe's not actually going to have access to firearms in this DLC, however, he's just got access to his right and left hook with the right trigger and left trigger, and I'm assuming the left mouse button and right mouse button, so you're going to be able to box the enemies quite a lot here. Now the thing is, that makes me wonder what his background is and how strong he really is. How is it that he's going to be able to take on all these enemies with just his fists alone? We know that there's going to be new creatures and new molded that are shown, and I think this had double implications, because I think reading this and seeing some of the pictures and other articles, there might be also normal creatures such as alligators that are lurking in the swamps that you have to engage, as well as I know of new types of molded that are going to be shown in the End of Zoe DLC itself. This just leads me to believe that Joe will need some arsenal of tools, and if he doesn't get access to firearms, I would believe he gets access to maybe a bow, spears and other little mandatory tools like that to at least take on the molded and Umbrella operatives. He did say there's definitely a connection between End of Zoe and Not a Hero though, so this isn't just speculation by the way, this is something that is fact, and because End of Zoe takes place 3 days after the Not a Hero incident, I'm assuming something happened in the Not a Hero incident where Zoe was forced to be in a crystallized state. I've got a few theories over that, and I'll be making separate videos on all of this content if you're interested. Now End of Zoe, and this is specific to End of Zoe I believe, seems to be getting a brand new sound system integrated and tested out in it. Now this is Real sound technology. The full game apparently may get it at a later date and Not a Hero DLC, but it should make a really big difference for people with headphones, for people with surround sound systems, and you should really hear the extra. So I'm really looking forward to this because I have a PlayStation 4 and that has the 7.1 surround sound headset that I bought for it, and that should really integrate and work well with the VR, and I'm expecting to have a very immersive experience. Anyway guys, those are all the details summarized, so that's what we're going to be getting in the game. I'll be talking now a bit about a few of these that I'm excited about, and I also want to get into the nuances behind this, and like I said, you can check the sources out if you want to go and read this all yourself. It's not exactly a perfect one-to-one translation, but it's pretty accurate if you use Google Chrome and translate it, because you'll understand most of what's being said there. So first off, I'd like to say it seems like Capcom's taking a lot of feedback in for these two DLCs, especially Not a Hero being a free DLC is like 6 to 8 times the length of the Daughters DLC, and on top of that, if you guys remember the trailers as well as these comments, it looks like there's going to be a lot more enemy diversity and variety in both of the DLCs, as well as a different way to combat them and a different way to approach both situations, and they're going to be set in very different environments, Not a Hero being in the salt mines, and End of Zoe is going to be more out in the open and in the swamps and areas where you're going to have to fight the creatures as well as new molded. This leaves a lot of questions to be honest, such as who is the new hive mind that's controlling all of these molded. That's a really big question that I've been asking. I remember the screenshots and little bits from the trailers showing some kind of lab environments inside the salt mines, and of course it looked like these areas were little rooms for somebody to live in, and I believe that there was further experimentation going on in these 3 years with Lucas and maybe the syndicate that he's connected with. Also, the End of Zoe DLC and Not a Hero being connected, I'm wondering what's going on there, what actually happened after Ethan left. It seems like Mia being saved was the canon option as we saw in the trailers, but Zoe's final fate is still unknown. Joe might be able to actually save Zoe, and maybe there's a happy fate awaiting Zoe after all. But I do believe after being through 3 years worth of hell, being subjugated to mental torture, as well as seeing all the things and experiencing all the things she has been, and also apparently dying or becoming crystallized and then coming back to life, that she is forever changed and will never remain the same. I actually had a cool idea about this, which seems pretty reasonable, is that Zoe, after all of this experience and being saved, becomes kind of very aware of bioterrorism and very much wants to combat it. Imagine in a future Resident Evil title, we get to see Zoe in a BSAA outfit and she's joined the organization to fight bioterrorism around the world. It's just a cool idea, and I'd love to see these characters fleshed out more. But also, why is Joe such a strong person, and why is he so resilient to the Umbrella operatives, as well as the fact that he doesn't seem to be any shock and he's handling the molded no problem with his bare fists in the environment. I mean, Joe's a very special character, of course, and I'm not exactly sure what his background is, but his affiliation with the Baker family now is almost looking like he's a family member, or he's definitely a very close family friend that's been around for decades. Let me know what you guys think about this below, and I just hope you've appreciated this little data dump. It's not exactly like I've been directly quoting the directors here, but I have been giving paraphrase samples to give you guys a rough idea, so I would go read that source if you want to get a better in-depth and quality read, and that way you'd be able to get a much better handling of everything to expect. Anyway guys, if you did enjoy the video, please leave a like and a subscribe, it would mean the world to me. I just hope you're having a beautiful day. As always, let me know in the comments what you think. Take it easy for now, have a beautiful day, and peace.